Welcome to election night in Fiji. After 4 months of a Labour government, Fiji has headed to the polls, electing its first new Prime Minister in a while. In this election, we have Fijian Labour, the National Federation Party, and the Conservative Party, who will come out on top. I'm here with my co-presenter, BinnyBoy19, who will be offering comments throughout the show. Binny, introduce yourself.
Right, so I'm Binny Boy 19. I'm a member of group staff in Fiji. I'm also head of the civil service, and I've been a former prime minister. So yeah, and I'll be giving my insight into the election and things as such.
Okay, thank you. So today we have a guest on us. Today we have Sheikh. Welcome, Sheikh.
Thank you, Atrafir.
So he's a representative from the Fijian Labour Party. And just before we begin, we're going to do the exit poll. So that should be good. Okay, so I'm now ready to release the results of the exit poll. The exit poll is projecting that this election is too close to call. We're projecting that Fijian Labour will be the largest party, with 10 seats. Following will be the National Federation Party, with 9 seats. And following that will be the Fijian Conservatives, with 1 seat. So, Sheikh, it looks like your party has come out on top by this exit poll by a margin of 1 seat. How do you feel?
I mean, it's well deserved. If you just take a look at our cabinet, our manifesto, we have well thought out plans that can be implemented in a heartbeat. And of course, if needed with time, they will be taken with time, as we have an experienced cabinet who knows what's best for Fiji and who have the people's interests in mind.
Okay, so what do you think the next 2 months of the assembly will be like? Considering if this exit poll turns out to be true, things will be a bit more unstable. What do you think the impact will be on the assembly?
In the assembly, I think it will be a bit hopefully not tripartisan. Like we see some unity from one side to the other, but I see Labor and the National Front being united in passing legislation and making sure Fiji moves forward. However, I do not can't, I actually can't say the same though for the Conservatives, as they've been more offensive and brutish in their ways of trying to gain control of Fiji.
And what do you think? What do you think the future of Fijian Labour is if this result is true? I mean, for the last 2 months, for the last 4 months actually, we've seen Fijian Labour come out on top, and it was always really definite. But whereas this result, it's sort of like really, really close between the parties. What do you think the future of Labour is?
I think because we're now in the mud a bit, I feel like we're gonna come out on top. Because here's the thing: I believe in the competition, the products get better in the market, and it was my prime belief that Fijian labor is the best product that any citizen can vote for to lead his country. Thus far, we will come out on top, and I believe even the next election, if everything goes correctly, we'll also get a better majority than we do this election, hopefully.
Okay, and one last thing. Do you think that Fijian Labour in the current climate will be able to maintain the confidence of the assembly?
I believe so. I mean, sure, we'll have a lot of opposition, but regardless, they'll have to come to their senses and work with the Fijian labor and hopefully the Fijian labor government in order to make sure the country actually moves forward, because it will be completely selfish and against the will of the people to just stop the country because you didn't win the election.
Okay, thank you for that. So that's it from Shake. So Benny, what do you think? What do you think from hearing him, and What do you think is sort of the mood within Labour right now?
Well, to be honest, I think they're quite optimistic. I think they're looking forward to this victory that's been predicted. I know it'll be close, but I think they're also clinging on to some hope for like bipartisanship instead of like he said, tripartisanship. So yeah, I think that the general mood is an optimistic one, and I think Fijian Labour are ready to sort of get back into governance again.
Just your reaction on the exit poll. We didn't get that, but what is your reaction on the exit poll? Considering it seems this election is very, very close. I mean, who knows? And even the National Federation Party. I mean, this is a one-seat margin. Even the NFP could come out on top. No one really knows what the result of this election is from this exit poll. I just want to know what your reaction is.
First of all, I think that the Conservative Party have been predicted quite successfully because, I mean, they've had quite a lazy campaign. Their campaign hasn't really offered much for Fiji. When we're talking about the other parties, however, I think that it is extremely close. I didn't expect it to be this close. I think with Sequatic coming out of office, I was thinking that the NFP was going to come on top, but, you know, like, it is kind of surprising that it is this close.
And what do you think? What do you think the impact will be on Fiji? Do you think because over the last 4 months we've been so used to stability, and just what do you think it'll be like over the next 2 months?
Well, seeing the last assembly, I think that there is quite a stable atmosphere because we have Mason in as a leader, we have Lynette, and then alongside that we have a strong proposition for what we'll have inside the assembly. So in terms of that, I think we don't have to worry about having an unstable assembly because we have able individuals who will be able to allow Fiji to continue to prosper.
Okay, so thank you for that. So I think we're ready to go over to Mason J. Day now. Mason, are you alive?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, Mason, to the show.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. So the exit poll is basically predicting that you're gonna pick up a fair amount of seats. I mean, if I'm correct, you're on 6 seats currently.
Yes.
That is a increase of 3 seats from Fijian Labour. So what do you think, considering you are on 9? This exit poll has you on 9 seats, and Fijian Labour is on 10 seats. I mean, I think you were pretty confident from the get go that you do quite well. But what do you think the impact of this will have on Fiji, and how are you feeling about the results of the exit poll?
I see this as a massive positive for our party. Do I see it as a positivity for the country? I don't know, because that could cause, because of the fact that it's going to be quite divided in terms of the assembly, it may cause a lot of instability. But in terms of the party gaining 3, but actually because from last election we actually got 3 because we got an extra 3 from merging with the Populists. So actually we've gained about 6 seats. That's really good. It's a really good gain.
Fatty, boom, boom.
And just a bit of an insight from you on what do you think the future of the National Federation Party is, considering this election is so close? Do you think that the National Federation Party will stay to be a very? Do you think the two-party system? Do you think we're going to now have a two-party system between Fijian Labour and the National Federation Party?
Yes, if the exit poll is correct, the Fijian Conservatives have 1 seat, and I think that's really reflected on the campaign they actually did. It was, if I have to be very, very honest, it was a bad campaign. They didn't release a manifesto. They released the same copy and pasted message 3 times. It was hardly a campaign, and I think that it's quite clear that it's going to be a two-party system next election. I have a feeling.
And just a quick thought on what you think the future of Fiji is going to be if you're in government, and what are some of your plans from the get-go? What are your immediate plans that you want to get implemented?
Well, the immediate plans on the first week will be getting my cabinet sorted, ensuring that ensuring we're meeting with Commonwealth countries and communicating with them, starting our communication with developers, and also starting from the get-go, ensuring that we have a group chat with the commissioner and developers as a joint group chat.
And just quickly, I mean, the seats currently, I believe, they're pretty close currently as things stand. I don't know. I don't think they're added on the ticket yet, but you currently have one seat, I believe, and Fiji and Labour also have the same. So things are looking to be quite very similar right now. And what are your reactions on the result?
I think the exit poll is going to be extremely accurate, and of course, I hope we're going to get the largest party. But getting 9 is a massive improvement, and that's something we can build upon. We're not going to go down. We're just going to increase.
Alrighty. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on.
No worries.
That's it from you today. Right. Over to Binny. What were your reactions as to what Mason said?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mason is looking forward to winning. He's definitely put in the most effort compared with other party leaders, and I can sense his frustration because we've seen a lack from other party leaders, and for Labour even it was Sequatic driving the campaign. So I do sense his frustration. In terms of doing well next assembly and next election, I think it is basically an upward. How do I phrase this? It's basically an upward transition for NFB, and I do think that if they're going to continue, they are going to win at some point, even if this Labour surge is too strong at the moment. So yeah.
Right. So I know that you heard what he was just talking about. I mean, do you think that the NFP will offer a bit of a change as to what we've seen, and what sort of government do you think Mason's going to lead if he becomes prime minister?
Well, I can't be too sure with regards to that because Sequatic has left with quite a bang. However, I do think that Mason is going to work on improving Fijian relationships internally because he is that type of guy. He's the type of guy to take into account what's happening inside rather than focusing on exterior relations at most. So if Mason does come into power, then we are going to see a lot of internal overhauls. That is something that we've seen from his manifesto as well. So yeah.
Right. And just quickly, what do you think the future? I mean, I've said this quite a lot today, but what do you think the future of Fiji is in terms of its politics? I mean, this is a completely new climate as to what we've seen previously. What is the future of Fijian politics?
Well, personally, like I said before, even if it is a hung parliament, I don't expect it to be messy because we have able people on both sides. It's not like in the UK where we have 4 parties at the moment, but we have 3 parties at the moment with one of them only being predicted 1 seats and the other 2 being predicted 19 seats. So I think that we will see a stable majority nonetheless. For whoever gets into government. And then in terms of whoever leads in the assembly, I don't really think there'll be ruckus. I don't think there'll be chaos. I think it'll be quite peaceful. Yeah, we might have a few sessions where there'll be a bit of noise, but I see the assembly lasting for the next term, if I'm honest.
Thank you for that. We're just waiting Ben Hathaway to come in now. So we're going to be having him on, the leader of the Conservative Party. So, let's just wait for that to happen. Should be around 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, also
just
before he does come on, it would be interesting to see if Mason would continue if he doesn't win this election, because this would be his 3rd term as leader. So yeah.
Okay, so just quickly, we have some results in. So Labour are holding Ra and Vudar, and the NFP are holding Kudavu. So the current seat climate is going well. Okay, now we have Ben Hathaway on. Hi, Ben.
Hey, why, hello there, Fijians, and to everybody else.
Okay, so just quickly, the exit poll has your party on 1 seat. What do you feel about that?
And I mean, I think I expected that, to be honest. I mean, look at our campaign.
And
I didn't come into the election to win. There's no way I would have won with giants such as Fijian Labour, the lefties that they are. I didn't come in there to win. I knew that I was not going to get the amount of people there, but I did run, and 1 seat, meh.
yeah, and just on that, let's just get a bit of spicy stuff in, considering this election is quite spicy, to be honest.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so it looks like you're the kingmakers. Even though you have 1 seat, it looks like you have the most power in this situation.
Oh yeah, I did remark that even though I wasn't going to come in here to win, if it was a hung parliament with 3 parties like it usually is in Fiji elections, everybody would be running to be for a coalition. So yeah.
Yeah, so about that, I mean, it looks like it might come to that today. What do you think? What will you do considering the climate we're in?
I mean, I don't think I've made much friends during the campaign. We'll see how it goes. If we do go into a coalition, I'm not going to sell myself out. There's no way in hell. If it's going to be a coalition, it's going to be a good one, and I'm going to make sure that the demands of both the Fijian people, the demands of my party's reputation, and the general perception of the government are taken into account.
And currently, I believe you have 0 seats. I mean, it looks like
RIP.
the exit poll is on track to sort of pan out. So what do you think? Do you expect to get more than 1 seat? Do you like
No
2,
way.
for example, or do you think you're just going to get 1?
It would be great to have 2, but would be more than we would be predicted. But to be honest, if we do get 1 seat, at least we're in Parliament.
Yeah, I think that's a big upside to it. At least you have representation in Parliament if you have 1 seat. I mean, there are some parties who in the past haven't even secured that threshold. So it would be definitely be interesting to have you in Parliament. And just quickly, what do you think the future of politics in Fiji is, and what do you expect it to be like?
The future is, well, if elections keep going the way they are, it would be quite bland because you have Fijian Labour, NFP, and all that. But obviously, I don't think it's going to stay the same. Like when I first came to Fiji and led the Fijian Tories, then it was a much different environment. It was. There was more parties, there was more options, and still there was more opportunity to make Fiji better, and that's what it basically came to today. So all those different battles we had, I know some people, Binny and Archer, you may remember, literally last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think last year was a bit of an energetic time, I'd argue. And Ben, you've been here from, I think, since the very beginning, since David found. What do you see the future of Fiji as a group to be, not just its political scene?
As a group, I mean, if you look at what Fiji was last year and you look at what Fiji was now, we were a republic, now we're in His Majesty's Commonwealth, which is an upside. We've also advanced in terms of we only had like a barely functioning regiment with 3 people, and now we've got Navy, Land Forces. We're in the peacekeeping, I think. No, we're not in peacekeeping, but we were in peacekeeping in Rusty's UN, if I'm not mistaken. We have all this, like, as I said, a navy. Lawaki's changed. We got a functioning police force, so a lot has changed since the very start. There's been new people in here. There's been like Fiji has changed, and I think if we keep going on this upwards path, then the future is quite bright. I think if we keep going the way we are, and there is a competent government elected for the next couple of terms, then it would be upwards from there.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on, Ben. Right, we're gonna go back to Benny
No
now. So
problem,
Benny,
mate.
what do you think of what Ben said, and what can you infer from what he said?
I mean, first of all, to be honest, I don't think he'll be getting a coalition deal with one seat. At the most, it will be a supply and confidence. And I am disappointed personally that he's come on with such a lazy attitude because I did expect more from him in this election. I was expecting the Fijian Tories to be campaigning to the fullest. However, we didn't see that. So I don't really have any sympathy for the Tories this election. Maybe they can turn it around next election. We won't know until then. In terms of their vision, I do think they have a vision. However, they haven't acted on it. They haven't shown to the public the extent of their vision. And yeah, I mean, I do agree with some points when it comes to their plans for the military and things as such. But generally, I fail to sympathise with Ben Hathaway and the Fijian Tories.
And what do you think the future of the Conservative Party is? Do you think they're just going to be some sort of third party, or do you think in the future we might see them rise up gradually?
It really depends on whatever attitude Ben takes on now. If he decides to be the leader who wants to push for change, then I'm sure the Fijian Tories will have a larger say in Fijian politics. However, if they are going to take the back seat like they've done this election, I don't think we can expect much from them.
And just briefly, what do you think? Considering I believe the Fijian Conservatives have 0 seats, do you think they're going to outperform the exit poll by like 1 seat, or do you think they are just going to get that 1 seat as predicted in the exit poll?
They could do, however, I highly doubt it. I think they're staying with one at the most.
Yeah, and currently we have, I believe the results are below on the ticker, so there will be some update. And so we're going to have to proceed our conversation, Binny, just quickly. So turnout, I believe, was pretty decent this election. I think it was over 50. I'm not completely sure. But considering we have seen turnout remain pretty high, what do you think? What do you think the things are going to turn out like in terms of future elections? Do you think turnout will remain to be quite well, or do you think things aren't really going to be as high in terms of turnout?
I think recently there has been a lot of interest invested into Fiji with regards to its politics. So I think it can only go upward from here. We've seen it elsewhere, and I think we are on a rise instead of a decline after this. I think this isn't the peak. There's more to be seen, and I think that political activity is going to continue to grow. If you check the Fiji server, we have seen the general chat to be more active than ever, and it's literally blowing up. So yeah, I do think that it will go upwards from now on.
And also, just to let the stream know, we've seen Sarua, which is a pretty high place in terms of it's a swing seat, and it's remained Labour. It's a Labour hold. I mean, swing seats remaining Labour, it has to be good news. They probably have retained quite a bit of seats if they've got Sarua. I mean, just what are your reactions on that, considering they've held a swing seat, which is always good for a party?
Well, that does suggest to me that the exit poll is going to be quite accurate. I do think that it's still possible for Fijian Labour to outperform the exit poll, and I think that is a possibility. So yeah, I think we best keep our eyes open because we could have another Fijian Labour majority. Fijian Labour majority.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. It always has to be good news, really. And also, what do you think? What do you think about, briefly, just quickly, what do you think the future of politics as a whole is? I mean, I've told you that, but considering these results, what do you think this term's going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, it's going to be quite a productive term. It's going to be more peaceful than we'd expect it to be. I don't think there'll be like a large amount of ruckus, a large amount of chaos. I think it'd be quite balanced, and I think the end result of it would be a positivity for Fiji.
Yeah, and just briefly, what do you think? What do you think things are going to pan out like, considering we do have quite a bit of decent results for some parties so far, and we also have, I think, some mind-numbing stuff, and also we just have some quick results now. So the NFP, they've held Kakarudove, and they've gained Suva South, which was a former populist seat, so it's technically a gain, and Nadi, which is a safe seat and a hold. So technically some pretty good stuff. So considering we've just seen the NFP holding one, and they've also they've just gained 2 seats, so it's quite good for them tonight. It looks like. So what was your reaction on that? Considering we've just seen the NFP pretty much surge in terms of seats just now, what do you think about that?
I think it does seem that the NFP will be becoming opposition regardless. However, on that note, I'd like to point out that this is an opportunity for the NFP to really grip the government by its hands, to really make them do what they want them to do. And it's really a chance for the NFP to shine, even if they do end up in government. If the possibility occurs that the Fijian Tories and the NFP outperform, then we could be seeing Mason in government. However, as things stand, I do think that the NFP have a large enough platform for government, not government, for opposition, and I think they will perform quite well.
And on the topic, we're now going to be switching our topic briefly over to Fijian Labour. I mean, Lynette's right. I mean, she's quite an interesting leader. She's quite new to politics in general, and this is her first time leading a political party. How do you think she's done?
Well, I think she's done amazingly, especially when we take into account that a lot of people were saying that Labour's legacy would be belittled down to Seaquatic's tenure, and that after Seaquatic had like exited from the scene of politics, that Fijian Labour would crumble, and I think she's sort of outperformed. I personally didn't expect Fijian Labour to perform as well as they did at the moment, and I do think for a new leader, she has done quite well, and she does remind me of myself as well, because I did come new to Fijian politics, and I did lead a party quite newly, and I did perform well as well. So yeah, I think she has. If she does become prime minister, she's going to do quite well.
And considering the Seaquatic era is over, do you think Fijian Labour will? Do you think they're going to keep this sort of Fijian Labour's always going to be on top? Do you think that attitude's going to remain the same, or do you think things will be more competitive in the future?
I think it's going to be extremely hard to pinpoint, to be honest, because if Seaquatic keeps his control over Labour, by that I'm referring to if he can keep his influence within Labour, then I think they'll do quite well, and I think there will be less competition in terms of the assembly because there will be that figure who will guide Labour. However, if he is to make an exit, then I think NFP will be challenging the Labour Party, or it might be the other way around, where the Labour Party will be challenging the NFP. So I think it is all down to one single figure, and that is Seaquatic.
And we've also just seen, I believe, we've seen the Conservatives get their 1 seat. So do you think?
Get in!
Yeah, so I know Ben Hathaway is going to be quite happy about that. So they have they've gained the seat of Ndroga and Navosa, the seat of Thomas Kulaku currently. I mean, do you think the Fijian Conservatives have the potential at least to outperform the Expo? And I know we spoke about the possibility, but now they've actually secured that seat. Do you think they actually have a good possibility of outperforming that exit poll?
I mean, I highly doubt it. Although it is interesting that it is Thomas's seat, because if there is only one seat, then there might be a bit of a fight over who gets that seat. It would have obviously had its value to Thomas, and he may be asking Ben at the moment to give him that seat. So yeah, but I don't think that the Tories will outperform the exit poll. I think they're sticking at one at the moment.
And considering we've got quite a bit of results so far, do you think the exit poll is on track at least, or do you think things are going to be looking a bit more difficult for people?
Yeah, I think the
Specific-
exit poll is fairly accurate. I think that the Fijian Labour Party might win a majority, and the NFP might win less seats than expected. However, I think it is on track.
And what do you think things are going to be looking like, considering things are looking quite hard for some parties right now? I mean, it looks like we could be in hung assembly territory, and obviously that's fine, but the implications that has for the assembly, God knows really. I mean, what do you think things are going to be? What do
I
you
think,
really think?
yeah, so I think that both major parties have made it clear that they don't want to work with the Conservative Party because of
No.
uh, their stitchy campaign. In that regard, I think that it will be very interesting to see how the two major parties make their way into government if they've ruled out a coalition or a supplying confidence with the Conservatives. However, I do think, as I've mentioned before, that it will be quite a respectable assembly, and it will be in the hands of some able politicians who know what they're doing.
And definitely, what do you think the political climax? I mean, it's as unpredictable as ever before, really. Uh, so do you think we're not really used to this sort of unpredictable stuff in Fiji? So do you think this is a bit of a shock to the system?
Yeah, I mean, in my own opinion, I think it is quite a outlier in terms of what we see in Fiji. Usually, we have one party which takes the win. That was Fijian Labour in the past. However, we have seen the NFP making their gains, and the fact that it is so close does signify that there will be a bit of a change with regards to the future of Fijian politics.
And definitely, I think there is definitely a change as to what things looking like. And do you think that the political climate is sustainable? I mean, do you think for future elections this will be what things are like, or do you think over time things will become more stable and things will become better, really, in terms of our political scene?
I think that's solely dependent on how the current parties perform in the assembly. Taking a look at NFP and the Conservative Party, I think there's a lot of potential behind their camps, and if Mason can pull another term off as leader of the opposition, then without a doubt he may become prime minister next term. And if the Conservative Party can make use of their one seat at the moment, then I think they may even become main opposition next term. But for the time being, I do think that Labour have stuck their feet in the mud, and really, I don't see Fijian Labour being rubbed off of Fijian politics anytime soon.
And do you think that the way things are looking, I mean, this is pretty unprecedented. I mean, we've said this quite a lot now at this point, but what do you think things specifically? What do you think the impact on this will be on the wider group, be it like the military, like the Fijian police, the Royal Fijian Police Service? What do you think the wider impact of this election result is going to be?
Oh, well, the police service at the moment is in good hands. So in that regard, I think that we don't need to worry. However, with the military, I think there is a lot of grounds for success because we haven't really seen much from the military, and the fact of the matter is that we can only go upwards from here. So I do think that both major parties have a promising agenda for the military, and if they do commit to it, then we will see a stronger military, a stronger navy as well.
Yeah, indeed. And just quickly, what do you think things will be looking like widely? Like we've spoke about the wider group, but do you think, for example, the judiciary? I mean, I've not really seen much from them this term. Do you think parties will really become energetic in terms of those departments that don't really get the most attention? Like I know, for example, the last session there was a bill proposed on a new Department for Public Prosecutions. Do you think things are going to be looking better in terms of cases? But do you think the judiciary will be taking on those cases? Do you think the next government is going to be really pushing on things like the judiciary, etc.?
I mean, not gonna lie, we have a couple of strong cabinets here. I think one of the uh, key persons for me was Sheikh, for example, who is an exemplary candidate for the judiciary. If Fijian Labour do get into government, then without a doubt they will spearhead their way through the judiciary. I can say the same for the NFP as well. I don't think we need to worry about what happens with the judiciary, because we do have strong candidates from each party.
Okay, so just a brief update to everyone. Welcome to welcome to what Fijian politics was going to look like. So this you're listening to election night currently, and currently we have quite a bit of seats that have just been declared. Actually, I believe we've had 4 seats just declared. So we've had Labour gain 2. We've had the NFP have 2 too. We have 2 Labour seats, which are Narasi South and Narasi North and Narasi South, and they're both holds. We have 2 NFP seats, which are Rotuma, which are holds, and we also have Suva South, which is a game from the Populous, but technically a hold due to their merger. So, considering we've seen quite a bit, considering this is what things are looking like so far, I mean, we've had quite a surge in the results. What do you think things are looking like?
I think it's still awfully close, and we could have a shift out of the random. However, I still think that there will be a Fijian Labour majority at this point because they are keeping that momentum. I think with regards to gains and holds, it has been sort of rocky for the NFP. However, it has been quite a straight line, you could say, for the Labour Party. So in that regard, I do see the Labour Party staying in government. Yeah.
I mean, Binny, I don't know if you've seen the results in full currently, but we're currently at 7 Labour, 6 NFP, and 1 for the Tory. I mean, that is pretty unprecedented. I mean, it's literally one close right now. We're in margin of 1. That is what the exit poll has. That is what the exit poll has projected. Well, not. That is what the exit poll projected. What do you think things are? Do you think the exit poll is going to pan out as it was, or do you think things are just going to be slightly off?
Yeah, I mean, that is surprisingly close at the moment. If we have a 1 seat gap between the 2 major parties, I could be wrong in saying that there will be a majority. It could be that NFP flip the tables and they end up as the largest party and they may form a coalition with or a SNC with the uh, Tory party. But yeah, I do think that it will be close nonetheless. However, I'm still going to stick with my notion that Labour are going to end up in government.
And we currently have a tie now because one has been the NFP have just gained a seat from Labour. In fact, they've gained the seat of Lamar TV from Labour. So that means that the results are currently 7 NFP, 7 Labour, and 1 Tories. I mean, the NFP have made gains at this point. From last time they had 6 seats, but they've gained quite a bit. I mean, the exit poll has them on 9. They're currently at 7. Do you think they're going to get to that exit poll or at least outperform it?
Well, I think I'd like to take back my claims with regards to me saying that Labour will win a majority if the results are tied, which they are. I think it's possible that the NFP will overtake the Labour Party, and it's possible that we may see a Mason government. So yeah, I think that in terms of unpredictability, this election takes the cake quite easily.
Yeah, things are definitely looking to be very, very uncertain and very, very, very close. I'm not sure whether any party will pick up a majority right now. I mean, we're seeing it being very, very close, and I just think currently the things where things are looking. I mean, do we really know if party will be getting a majority? I mean, nothing is really guaranteed at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I need to mention now is that turnout was 59, which is actually, considering last time we had we had decent turnout, but this election is an increase on last election by eight votes. So considering we've seen an increase, do you think this is very good news, and do you think this rise in turnout is going to be sustainable for Fiji?
Yeah, I think it's amazing that the turnout is increasing. Nevertheless, it is a small increase, but it is an increase. So it does signify a good path for Fiji. I think I have said this before, but it does represent an increase in interest when it comes to politics. So yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. And just quickly, what do you think things are going to be? What do you think things are going to?
Think you've muted yourself.
And just roughly, what do you think things are going to be looking like for Fiji, considering these results are very, very, very close? I mean, things are looking to be incredibly close. I mean, I just want to know what your insight on because I've asked you this before quite a bit, but considering the results are currently drawing, I believe. I mean, what do you think these results really entail for Fiji, and what is your final prediction on what the results will be?
Well, at the moment, seeing the results as they stand, I think there will be a bit of a fight in the back room if there is a hung parliament. And from there on, we could see, if we're being realistic, a bit of friction between the party leaders. However, as I've said before multiple times, we have a bunch of able politicians who will put a country before personal interests. And I think they will perform to their fullest in the assembly. And they won't allow their internal conflicts like surpass the interests of the nation.
And I believe we're about to get some results in a second in terms of a bit of a results drop. So we're gonna just wait on that for a second. Okay, so we do have our latest results. So Labour have held Namosi, which is a swing seat, and they've held that. And the NFP have won Makuta South, which is a gain from Labour. So we have seen the NFP pick up some pace and gain those seats from the Labour Party. Do you think it'll be enough to see a National Federation Party government?
Yeah, at this moment in time, I think anything is possible, and I think Mason's probably sitting there thinking about the possibility of being PM. He's probably scaling up his options, his cabinet members, and I think that the same applies for Lynn as well. She's probably sitting there ready to be prime minister, and at the moment, it's really unpredictable as to who will walk in. A couple of minutes ago, I was talking about how it will be a Labour majority. However, I think that has sort of shifted towards a hung parliament where we could have either a NFP government or a Labour one.
And we also have another gain from the Labour Party. They have Taylorview, which is a Labour hold, and the current results are 8 for the Labour Party, 8 for the National Federation Party, and 1 for the Conservative Party. So that is 17 seats currently declared.
Come on,
Is that
Captain.
3 left to be declared then?
Yeah, 3 left to be declared. It looks like we're going to be ending on the time that we need to end. So just quickly, I mean, do you think we're going to have a draw? Wait, let me just get that. I just need to correct myself there. Labour are actually leading now. They're on 9 now. So
Right.
that is, it's 9 for Labour, 8 for the National Federation Party, and 1 for the Conservatives. So do you think Labour are going to keep their lead, or do you think they're just going to draw with the National Federation Party?
It's very possible that Labour will win the next 2 seats. However, it's also possible that it may be split between the NFP and Labour, or the Conservative Party might actually win another seat. So, in that regard, I think it's still pretty much unpredictable. However, I am going to place my bets on a Labour government at this moment in time, seeing as though they are in front. And yeah,
Yeah. So do you think, considering Sequatic hasn't been, he has been quite, in terms of precedent, he hasn't really followed it to the letter. Do you think, in terms of Lynn, do you think the sort of prime minister she will be, let's just talk about theoretically what sort of prime ministers these people will make. So do you think, what sort of prime minister do you think Lynn's going to be?
I think she's going to be that people's prime minister. However, she's going to also be that person who relies on her cabinet quite a lot because, she's a new figure in Fijian politics. She's a new figure in politics as a whole, and I think a lot of dependency will be put on those giants that sit within the Labour Party at the moment. In terms of Mason being Prime Minister, I think that the same applies because although he may be a seasoned member of Fijian politics, he's still quite new to the idea of raw politics as a whole. And although he will be that people's Prime Minister figure who will spearhead an effort to take the country far, there will be a lot of dependency on cabinet members and yeah.
And Labour, I believe, are now on 10 seats. So that is, I believe they've held the seat of Buar, and so that means that the National Federation Party, I believe, are on 8 seats. Labour is on 10, so it looks like Labour is pulling ahead of the NFP, which is a bit what the exit poll projected. But I think uh, they're currently on what the exit poll is projecting. So do you think they're gonna be keeping that seat? Well, it looks like that we're now confident that Labour are going to be the largest party. So let me just call that. So Election Night is now projecting that Labour is the largest party in this, but we don't know if they've got a majority yet. Will they hold the next seat or will they not? We're going to now find out if they've got that majority government that they so desperately need. Um. So just quickly, Benny, do you think they're going to get a majority?
Well, yeah, I think chances are that Labour will win the majority. However, even if they don't, they're going to be forming government regardless because their 10 seats comes before a possible coalition with regards to the NFP and the Conservative Party. So whatever the outcome may be, we're going to be seeing a Labour government.
Okay, so I believe so election night is now ready to call the result of this election. We now are officially ready to tell you that the Labour Party have a majority government. They have won the election, and Lynette Wright will be the next Prime Minister of Fiji. They will have 11 seats, just reaching the margin, and the National Federation Party will have 8. Well, current Conservative Party will have 1. So, Binny, what are your reactions on the result?
Yeah, I think I am sort of happy that my prediction did last out till the end. I think that it will be interesting as to how this next government will perform, especially when we have a newer face. However, I need to go now to break my fast, so see you in a bit. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to do that to you in a second. So, I'm just going to now read the final results before we end the stream. So, we have the Labour Party, 29 votes and 11 seats. The National Federation Party, 23 votes and 8 seats. And the Conservative Party, 3 votes and 1 seat. I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning into election night, as we have uncovered the results of this very complicated election. Thank you for joining us for the second time, and I'd just like to thank the person who helped us stream this, Welsh Roblox, for volunteering and allowing us to stream election night with better graphics than last time. I believe this has been quite a good election night, so credit to him. I'd also like to thank BinnyBoy19 for being my co-presenter throughout the show. I'd also like to thank Jake and Ben Hathaway and Mason JD for appearing on the show. And that's it from me, and this has been Election Night in Fiji. Thank you.